All right, everybody, Bryce here, coming at you with another real quick crypto market update, and we have to start with the elephant in the room. Markets are under serious pressure, particularly TradFi, right? And the S&P 500 is down more than 13% year to date. The NASDAQ is in serious correction territory, and volatility exploded. You see the MOVE index is at like 140. The VIX, which is the bond market volatility index, and then the equity volatility index is the VIX. That spiked to 60, which is the highest we've seen it since the COVID crash in 2020. And 10-year treasuries are trading like penny stocks the way they're moving with such volatility. And the CPI, by the way, is still coming in hot, right around 2.8% year over year. So what's driving all of this? Well, I'm calling it a tariff tantrum, okay? Because it's a combination of all these geopolitical trade tensions that are slowing global growth. And really, there's stemming a lot of uncertainty over whether the Fed and all these other central banks are going to cut rates or they're going to hold tight and high. And investors are understandably on the edge and kind of moving to cash and moving to safe haven assets. But here's the thing, okay? I want you to focus on how similar this setup looks to some historic buying opportunities. So take you back in a time machine to March 2020, we saw markets panic before what was a massive recovery. You know, Bitcoin rallied 600% over the next year. And in March 2023, you guys remember the regional banking crisis? Banks started to collapse and everybody was freaking out, right? Then what happened? Bitcoin rallied over 40% in just about 2 weeks, okay? So the point here is that when TradFi breaks down, crypto doesn't always have that long-term fundamental suffering that the TradFi markets are dealing with, right? In fact, it often steps up and steps in, and that's kind of what we're seeing now. So if you think about like a lot of these growing fears around, you know, economic slowdowns and uncertainties and recessions, you know, this, you know, with crypto being a fully digital, you know, asset that's not tied necessarily to the real world, it actually performs quite well relative to the equity markets, right? And so we're kind of seeing, in a sense, you know, all of this crazy selling in the traditional markets, where, you know, like, you know, the stock market was down, like I said, like 5% back to back on Thursday and Friday. We haven't seen that kind of insane selling since really like the Great Depression. There hasn't been that kind of crazy selling. So amidst all of that panic in the TradFi market, Bitcoin's still kind of holding strong in a sense, right? It's still trading right around $75,000. And it's kind of, you know, holding that support zone. Can it dip a little lower? Sure. But you see clearly buyers stepped in and supported it during that market crash. It did not go to zero. It did not go back down to 50K or, you know, anything crazy like that. There was strong support right around the former all-time high, which was right around 75K. And so this is good. And importantly, you know, one other thing is that Bitcoin dominance is actually moving above 65%, I believe, which is the highest it's been in years, which tells you both institutions and retail are kind of treating Bitcoin here as the safe haven play in crypto right now. Because a lot of the altcoins, Ethereum, they've been lagging, okay? For instance, Ethereum's like trading around $1,600, which is down significantly. I think it's down almost 50% year to date, okay? That's pretty brutal. It's underperformed Bitcoin by a really wide margin. But over the past few days, it's started to stabilize. And I think if it can reclaim the 1,800 level, right, $1,800 per Ethereum, I think that's when we're going to see a really big shift in Ethereum's momentum. In fact, $1,800 is the most actively traded price point, both in the options market and the spot market for Ethereum. So that's a key level that I'm keeping my eyes out on. But right now, Bitcoin's clearly leading the market in terms of crypto. And I think altcoins are just in a bit of a wait and see mode, okay? But that could create really what I think is an opportunity for altcoin bulls who are looking for a catch-up play, okay? So let's take a look at what some of the on-chain and market data is saying. It's kind of showing that smart money in crypto is staying put, okay? So what's happening here behind the scenes with on-chain data, right? On-chain activity, in my analysis, actually remains relatively strong. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're actually seeing more active addresses and transaction growth even through the volatility. So for instance, March, the month of March, saw a 6% rise in the amount of transactions on the Bitcoin network. And in fact, the Ethereum network saw a month-over-month growth rate in new wallets by 30%. Okay, so that's pretty big. People are coming on board, and long-term holders are not selling. In fact, the supply of Bitcoin held by long-term wallets, by Glassnode, you can see this on Glassnode, it's still growing. So this is a sign of very strong conviction in the Bitcoin bulls. And if we go to the ETF fund flow side, they've slowed dramatically. There was a lot of outflows, right? A lot of outflows that have finally started to slow down. Okay. And for instance, in February, we saw about $3.5 billion in net outflows, people selling the Bitcoin ETFs. But in March, there was just about 800 million. Okay. So from 3.5 billion of selling to 800 million in selling, that's a 78% improvement. And that's a sign that the big profit taking wave really might be behind us in crypto. And check this out. In Asia, Tether, which is USDT, is actually trading at a premium to the dollar, which usually means people are sitting in stable coins. They're ready to redeploy into crypto, okay? When Tether isn't trading at $1, but it's trading at $1.01 or $1.02, that's actually dry powder that's on the crypto sidelines. It's not people cashing out of the space entirely. And also, if you take a look at the derivative markets, they look pretty healthy, okay? So funding rates are something that we pay a lot of attention to. It's the price that you pay to go long or short a derivative contract in crypto. So if the funding rates are really high, then you're paying a lot to go long the market. If funding rates are really low, you're paying a lot. You're paying a premium to go short the market. And right now, funding rates are kind of neutral, which is healthy. And while we did see big liquidations during the drop last week, they were actually smaller than previous drawdowns like we saw in February and March, massive liquidations. But recently, all the liquidations kind of seem to be behind us, right? Which, in my opinion, kind of means that the signs of panic are subsiding because those cascading sell-offs that are driven by those liquidations just aren't happening. So what we have is just really, I guess you could call it structured, measured sort of trading, which I think is healthy. And the catalysts, the bullish catalysts are stacking up. I talk about this every day, day in and day out. So despite the fear that tariffs and TradFi and trade wars, I mean, all that stuff, but crypto's actually got a lot going on for it right now specifically. So for one, the US government, right? It's been getting way more involved in crypto in a very bullish way. President Trump signed an executive order. We talked about this to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. The US is planning to hold its 200,000 Bitcoin and not sell them, but also there's a bill in the Senate right now to accumulate, to buy more, up to 1 million Bitcoin over the course of the next 5 years. So this is a huge vote of confidence, and this just affects the psyche of the market, right? It affects, I was talking to some family friends, and they're like, well, now that there's a president, now that there's an administration that's supporting this industry and not, being antagonistic towards it, now I could consider putting something like that, a Bitcoin ETF, for instance, into my retirement portfolio and 401k and . And so it's a psychological shift that no longer is this in their mind, that's just a suspect scam. That's just something I don't want to tinker around with. It's too volatile. It's like now that the president and the administration is like supporting it, it's a huge, huge psychological shift. And then these ETFs just continue to grow. They've got over $90 billion in AUM right now across all the spot Bitcoin products. And we're also seeing new products that are probably going to be hitting the market pretty soon, like different altcoin indexes, XRP ETFs, SUI ETFs, HBAR ETFs. So this is just really opening the floodgates for institutional money. And then if we just touch on the regulation side, it's improving because the SEC and Congress are really holding roundtables regularly with industry leaders. If we look over at MiCA, or if we look over in Europe at MiCA, right, there's this whole regulation that's rolling out for stable coins. So we're finally getting clearer rules, not just in America, but also in Europe. And, if we just finally kind of take a look at the Fed, right? The Fed is now expected to cut rates as of June. They're going to be apparently cutting rates every single meeting until December, starting in June. Markets pricing in like 6 rate cuts. Oil prices have fallen sharply. All of that could be a tailwind for crypto in Q2 and Q3. And also, let's not forget that Ethereum has a big upgrade in May. So this big upgrade's happening. It's called Pectra, which is going to once again cut the fees for users. It's going to improve the user experience. You're going to have all these layer 2s like Base and Arbitrum that are going to continue to grow. So while DeFi is down and crypto's down, it's not out, okay? So I am so excited. The main takeaway from this rather long crypto market update is that the setup is actually pretty bullish if you're looking past the noise, okay? The market, to me, it seems like the market is shaking off immense fear. And it's kind of building up for the next move. We've got strong technical support on Bitcoin, like I mentioned, right around $73,000, the former all-time high, I think is where we're going to see those long-term buyers step in to really defend their positions. We've got fundamentals that are improving on chain. We've got all the institutional interest that's present and probably activated on this dip. Like, hey, crypto's down. This is, we're trying to build a position in something like this over the long term. So they're probably actually buying these dips. And I saw that the head of digital assets at BlackRock, a guy named Robbie Mitchnick, he went public. He was doing a speech, and he said that the institutions he's talking to, the long-term minded ones, are actually really excited about and capitalizing on this dip. So while there's a lot of noise, while there's a lot of volatility, I need you to zoom out, okay? These moments in time like we're experiencing have historically been where major gains start, okay? That's the point. Crypto is still standing tall while TradFi is really got quite a bit of hairiness to it. And when the dust settles, I think crypto is going to lead the recovery, okay? So I want you to stay sharp, stay patient, and as always, keep your eyes on the long game. Now, real quick, if you don't also have a subscription to a research service where you could get market updates, buy zones, sell zones, technical analysis, fundamental analysis, much more. If you don't have something like that, but you want it, well, guess what? I got a deal for you. Because for $1, I'll give you a 1-week trial to Crypt Nation, okay? In Crypt Nation, we are a preeminent leading research service here in crypto. We've got a team of world-renowned analysts. We put out content and research day in and day out. I want to invite you, again, $1, a 1-week trial. Come and see, and we'll see you inside. Take care.